Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into Grant Williams' thesis on a really monumental shift he sees coming in our global financial system. His whole argument is that we are right on the edge of a massive change, and it's all being driven by the most powerful and maybe the most fragile force in all of finance: trust.
So, let's just dive right in with this really powerful idea from Williams. The financial world we've all grown up in, the one based on money that isn't backed by anything physical, he says that is the historical blip. It's the exception, not the rule. For most of human history, money was always anchored to something real.
For the last 50 years or so, our entire system has been running on this idea of fiat currency. And really, what is it? It's just a promise from a government. Its whole value comes from the faith and trust we have in the people who issue it. But what happens when that trust starts to wear thin?
And this, right here, is the absolute core of his argument. That trust, the very bedrock of the system, is eroding. And not just at the edges, not with you and me, but at the highest possible levels. He argues that among central banks, that trust is already shattered. We're going to break down exactly why, but first, real quick, if you're getting value from explainers like this, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. That way you won't miss any updates on these major shifts we're covering.
Okay, so let's see how this is all playing out. And the best way to do that is to look at what the world's most powerful financial players, the central banks, are actually doing. Because, their words can be very careful and diplomatic, but where they put their money, that tells the real story.
Williams points to this very clear sequence of events that he says changed the entire game. And it's a story that unfolds right here on this timeline. It kind of started quietly back around 2014, when foreign central banks, as a group, just stopped adding more U.S. treasuries. But the real earthquake, the moment everything changed, was in 2022.
He says that single act, freezing Russia's sovereign reserves, sent an absolutely terrifying message to every single country on the planet. And that message was, your U.S. dollar reserves, the foundation of your nation's wealth, are not actually yours. They can be switched off, just like that, based on politics. He calls it a catastrophic overreach.
And you can see the result right here. It's crystal clear. It's not like central banks are panicking and dumping all their treasuries at once, but they are quietly, consistently, and strategically rearranging their reserves. The trend is just undeniable. They are moving towards physical gold and away from U.S. debt.
So, why gold? Of all things, why are they turning to this, ancient, shiny metal? Well, Williams explains it all comes down to one absolutely crucial feature that no government bond, no currency can ever have.
Think about it like this. A treasury bond, at its core, is a promise. It's an IOU from the U.S. government. Its value depends entirely on your trust in them to pay you back. But physical gold, sitting in your own vault, that's not a promise from anybody. It isn't anyone else's liability. It's just an asset, period. And this really is the heart of it all. In a world where trust and promises is failing, nations are scrambling to find an asset that doesn't require you to trust anyone else. Gold is the answer to that question: what can I hold that's real when promises just aren't good enough anymore? And once you really get your head around this global search for a neutral, trust-free asset, well, that's when the huge geopolitical consequences really start to snap into focus.
Yeah, this shift is so much bigger than just portfolio management. It's literally redrawing the financial map of the world. And it's leading to what Williams describes as two competing financial systems that are starting to emerge, each one built around a totally different asset.
So on one side, you have the US-led system. It's trying to innovate with things like stablecoins, which, as Williams points out, very conveniently create a brand new source of demand for US Treasury bonds. But on the other side, you have a BRICS-led alternative forming around gold as a neutral foundation, specifically designed to work outside of the dollar's control. Now, for a lot of these countries, this isn't about picking a side. Not yet anyway. It's about giving themselves options in a future that looks more and more uncertain. And buying gold is the perfect move. It's not an aggressive anti-US statement. It just says, hey, we're getting ready for a multipolar world, and we're taking back control of our own financial destiny.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, Williams brings it all back to the cycles of history. He argues that what we're watching unfold right now, it isn't something new or shocking. It's a pattern that has repeated itself over and over again for centuries.
He suggests we're just living through a totally predictable, albeit very dramatic, phase of this very old cycle. We're in step 2, where trust is breaking down because of debt. In step 3, the return to a hard anchor like gold to fix the system. He believes that's what's coming next.
not because anyone wants it, but because it's going to be necessary.
And this number really puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? The sheer weight of history behind gold is incredible. It isn't some modern fad, it's a historical constant. Gold has a 6,000-year track record of being money. Our current fiat system? 50 years. It's just a baby in comparison. And in a global crisis of trust, Williams argues, that kind of longevity is the only thing that really matters.
And that leaves us with the huge, central question his analysis forces all of us to think about. When the very definition of money is built on a promise, and that promise starts to evaporate, how do we redefine value itself? It's a question central bankers are already answering with their actions, and it's definitely something to think about long after this explainer is over.